Well, what we do know about him is kind of from top to bottom. They have a very accomplished coach. He's had 7 seasons of 11 wins or more. Probably be hard to find too many coaches in the country who have had that. As we saw last year, they've got some very good players. And we certainly saw a lot more than last year in looking at many of their practice tapes. I think their schemes are very diversified on both sides. Give us a lot to think about. They make you play the whole field on both offense and defense. They'll be spread out considerable period of time, create a lot of space by doing that. And particularly from a field position issue, they've got probably as strong a legged kicker as we'll see this year. Was 43, 44 yards last year, and as I remember, the ball was pretty impressive in the air when you see it's not just a number, and claims that he can kick 70-yard field goals. So we hope to minimize that as being an issue. Quite a bit in terms of schemes. It's a real scheme defense. They run a lot of them. There's still some more out there that are possible. There's no way to conjecture how much of that they're interested in adding to this system, but they got quite a bit of it in there now. But any defense, whether it's 3-4, 4-3, whatever, they take on a lot of different faces. You know, to call a defense by its numbers is really doesn't give a very clear picture of what those fronts or those games are going to look like. It can take on so many faces and morph into one or the other. There's a lot of times that your 3-4 personnel teams are playing 4-3 fronts, and that your 4-3 teams overshift into overs and odds, and they actually got 4 down guys in the game and 3 linebackers, but they're playing with a 3-4 looking front. So this is an age of multiple front and scheme defenses, so most teams kind of evolve into one or the other. Then you got the bear defenses that lots of teams try to go into, whether they're 4-3 or 3-4. So it's just kind of that's one of the intrigues of the first game, that the teams, you know, they've had 15, 29, 44 practices since the last time they played, and teams' personnel changes even if their ideas don't. So hardly any team ever comes back in and does exactly the same things that they did the year before. They either got bigger guys, older guys, slower guys, faster guys, better throwers, better catchers, more runners, or more ideas. And so a lot of the first game is just, you just got to go in and see what's happening and then kind of be ready to make your plan from that point on. And so there's early in the season, there's a lot of, I would say even more so than in season, a lot of adjusting that goes on during the early games. We want a good degree of consistency. Otherwise, as we say, that you just become characterized by what's the philosophy of this team. They change every week. Well, you can't be a surprise and change team, because then the team that you surprise the most is yourself. So there's certainly elements of our style and whatnot that we want to play. By the same token, we believe that competition is about being able to play the game that you need to play every week. And you see that in any type of sport, you know, whether it's tennis or there's a certain way you pitch different hitters in a baseball lineup. Maybe you can't pitch every guy the same. Well, you can't play every team exactly the same way. And that's what competition is. You take what you do, you see what they do, you analyze the matchup, and then you try to find a way to win. Well, they're all, you know, they are progressing. They're certainly, they're young in their careers, and so we'll probably, hopefully, we'll be saying that about them for a period of time, that the degree of progress that a young player can make is over a period of time. If we stop saying it here at any point that the progress has stopped, that's probably not a very positive thing. But it's been a good camp for them. I think that those guys that we're looking towards the most have frankly done the most. You know, those guys coming in that we thought might do the most have done the most, and a couple guys have shown us that they might be able to help us. It's been well documented that Inman's made a good impression, and we're lucky to have him here right now. I think he'll be able to do some things that'll be positive for us. You could tell that he certainly looked like a natural athlete doing it. It was apparent that he wasn't experienced doing it, but it didn't take him very long to get a feel for it. Vic tracks the ball very well, visually. You know, he tracks the ball very well, and that's the key. That's the starter for being a good punt return man, to be able to track the ball and take off for the spot where the ball is going to come down, be able to get set underneath the ball, and then obviously there's the physical catching part of it. Some players track the ball very well; they're just not natural catching it. Some guys can track it. Can catch it. They're just always off target with where they go, and he quickly showed that he could do those two things. He's such a great kid and such a great team member. There's no personal agenda with him. There's no ego. It is truly, with Vic Hall, 100% about the team and what he can do for the team, and whatever you asked him to do, his mindset is that whatever that chore might be, I'm going to be very good at it. And it doesn't make a lot of difference to him what the chore is. In this particular case, it just so happened to start out being a corner, and from then it's built.